Morning, everybody. Hope you all are having a fantastic day. I wanted to get on here, and I definitely felt led to share this. Um, I'm gonna share something that happened yesterday, but I just want to let you guys know that I had uploaded a video about it yesterday. I made a video talking about it. Immediately was struck with fear. Went and deleted the upload and deleted the video, even like what I had done. And thinking like I shouldn't talk about it. I shouldn't talk about this. And then other fearful thoughts. So I'll show you how badly this miracle that happened, how badly it was attacked. And that's why, I feel led to share it, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And on this channel, I'm just chilling with Jesus and sharing it with you guys, okay? That's it. Just chilling with him, and then, I let you know what happens. So the day before yesterday, yesterday's Monday night, 7 o'clock, my daughter, Camila, starts complaining about her throat, that it hurts, okay? She's like, oh, it feels scratchy. And she seemed a little bit, she looked like she was coming down with something. I'm like, okay, uh-oh, And so she takes a hot shower, goes to bed, and wakes up the next morning, yesterday morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, with, high fever, she's coughing, runny nose, all over. She's literally writhing around in pain. She's like, oh, like that, because her stomach was hurting her, and she said her legs, everything hurt her, her whole body. Her back hurt so bad that when she, I needed her to sit up to take some medicine, to drink some medicine, and she couldn't get up. I had to help her, prop her up, because she was so weak. She was that sick. And your kids, those of you that have kids, your kids, when they're faking it, and they're just, you know what I'm saying, being crybabies, and when it's real, you feel it. And she was so hot and so sick, and so it was okay, we got to take her to the doctor. So I'm getting the other girls ready for school, and because I'm going to drop them off and just take her directly to the clinic. And in my head, it was lay hands on her and pray for her. And, then of course I'm like, why am I telling myself to go lay my hands on her and pray for her? And so I say to my husband, do you think we should pray for her? And, he's hurrying up trying to get ready for work. The poor man, he leaves really early. So he's speed walking in our room, getting ready. And I mentioned it to him, and I was standing there thinking, going back and forth in my head, okay, Lord, well, you said that we should lay our hands on the sick, and should I believe that? Is this something I should believe you for? Is this disrespectful if I ask you for this? Lord, what if I do it and nothing happens? Then I've stepped out of line, and she might not believe you. She might lose faith because of that, and I don't want to do that to her. And as I'm thinking all of this in my head, because that's what happens with me, as I overthink everything. As I'm thinking this, I see my husband just speed walk by me and just go, start, going straight to where she's laying down. And I'm like, are you going to pray for her? And he's like, yeah. And so I'm like, okay. And I'm going to come. And so I start speed walking over to where he is, because in my head I'm like, all right, Lord, you also said where two or more are gathered in your name, you are in their midst. And you also said, what we bind on earth or whatever and loosed and all that stuff, right? You said some other thing. So there's a couple of promises here that is it brave for me to, all right, Lord, I'm going to believe you here. I'm going to believe this. All right. So she's, we get over to her bed, and she's like that, all sick, so sick, right? And we lay our hands, and my husband is praying out loud, and I'm praying in the spirit, and I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm praying in my head, agreeing with him, right? And so, he's done praying, and we go downstairs, and so Like, then my mind's boom off of praying. I'm trying to hurry up and get the other girl's shoes on and, you know, like, get everything, backpack, snacks, whatever, while I'm like, okay, honey, help her get out to the car, because she couldn't walk. She was so weak, he had to carry her out to the car. So he carries her out to the car, puts her in there. As we all get in, I get in next to her, and I notice that she's, like, not moaning anymore. She's just sitting there. And I'm like, okay. And I feel like, put on worship music, you know, like, put on some worship music. So, like, I do that, and we drop the girls off, and we're on our way, and I notice that, you know, she's like, oh, my stomach kind of hurts. But it wasn't like the yelling, moaning pain that she had been doing all morning until we left at like 7 o'clock. So, I'm like, okay, are you feeling all right? Do you need a like, do you need anything? And she's like, no, I'm okay. So we get to the doctor's office, and the nurse sees her, and the nurse, you know, as soon as Camila comes in, she feels her, and she's like, oh, she's burning up. And I was like, I know, she's, you know, she had a really high temperature at the house, and the nurse takes her temperature, and it's 98. And we're like, okay. And so we're waiting in the room, and as we're waiting in the room, I'm noticing she's like joking with me more, and she's like colors coming back to her face, and she's not seeming as lethargic. And then she like, so they did 2 different flu tests on her, and so, or 2 flu tests, like the same kind of test, but because they thought they might have got a false negative or something, so they checked again, because she was like so sick. But then as she's there, she's like getting better, and then like we're waiting, and she like wants to eat, so she's like eating an orange, and like her, you know what I'm saying, like she, you know, she's just like getting better. And like her throat was all swollen too, and she could barely swallow. Like, I forgot to mention that. And at this point, her throat doesn't hurt anymore. Like, it's done. Like, she just was like, no, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. So the doctor came back, and he's like, yeah, so everything's negative. She's fine. Here you go. Here's a doctor's note. And so we leave, and she's still tired. But as we get to the store, because I'm like, the doctor was like, she probably just has a virus. It's not the flu. Just keep her home, give her lots of fluids, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So we stop at, you know, Walmart and go get her some Gatorade and some Lipton soup and, you know, stuff like that. And then, like, by the time we're in Walmart, she's fine. She's, like, walking around with me fine. And then we get home, and she's fine. And that was it. Like, and I know my daughter, and she was sick. Even my husband, who literally is always like, she's faking, okay, about everything, all right? He was worried. Like, she seemed severely sick with the flu. We've had the flu before. I know what it's like when my kids get it. I know it was the flu. And I absolutely believe that the Lord healed my daughter. I absolutely believe it, right? And then the enemy tried to attack it. So after we get home, all this, like, doubt starts coming in. Like, she's not really healed. She's sick, and she's still sick, because she was, you know, I could hear her sniffling downstairs, and I remember that came in, like, she's just going to get sick again, like, she has a virus, and she's not better, and, you know, it's just, she's feeling better right now, but she's going to get bad again. And it was like this fear, like, no, she's sick, and, like, they just, you know, it's not the flu, but it's like, she's really sick, you know, because she came home and she was fine, but she was still tired. So she's like laying down watching TV. And then he's trying to, like, because she was absolutely sick. There was no doubt in my mind that she was sick and that she's better now. But it was like doubting that the healing had happened, and that, like, it wasn't full. Like, it wasn't a full healing, right? And so I had to keep on, like, no, like, God healed, like, God, you healed her. Like, you healed her. Like, absolutely. And so I even had a conversation with my daughter. I'm like, do you see what happened? Did you see how sick you were? And then we prayed, and God heard us, and God answered you. And I'm sorry for those of you, like, I know people are like, well, I've done that and this and that. And I'm just giving you guys, this is what happened. And this is the truth of what happened. And it increased my daughter's faith, and that was what it was for. It was to increase her faith, and it increased my faith, and it increased my husband's faith. We literally were like, can you believe that happened? Can you believe that? She was sick. She was like really sick. My kids were worried about her because she was like, like sick. Sick. You guys know your kids when they're sick that you have to carry them to the car. Like, you don't do that unless you absolutely know that they're sick. Like, she was so sick. And then she wasn't at all. And she went to school this morning. And so, like, I was in fear that, like, I was getting a text that she wasn't fully healed, right? And then after, I was getting a text to not share it. So, like, I had uploaded a video and then I deleted it. And I was getting a text to not share it because, like, well, if you speak about it, like, it'll seem like you're boasting in yourself. And if you speak about it, something worse will happen to her. Like, and then you're like, that's not God. That's not his voice. Because at first it was like, like, I'm still learning, okay, how to use my weapons, my shield and whatever. And so it took me a minute to boom or whatever. But, yeah, I didn't, at first I was listening to that voice, and then it was like, wait a minute, like something is telling me, something is trying to prevent me from talking about this and to be in fear. And God does not give me a spirit of fear. He gives me power, love, and a sound mind. And he says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And this is something that encouraged my faith, that grew my daughter's faith. And, like, seeing now, like, even the difference today, how, she was always kind of the one that's like, you have to be like, Camila, we're praying, stop, pay attention, like, I need you to focus on what we're saying, and let's think our thoughts up, to God, and, and you need to agree with me, I need you to listen, and pay attention, trying to teach her just how to, when we group pray, or when you pray alone, and so usually, every day when we get to a certain spot on the way to school, we start praying. And so over their day and whatever else, right? And so, like, a song was on and I was like jamming to the song, and I accidentally went past the spot a little bit, and immediately she was like, Mom, you need to pray. And I'm looking back like, she's never the one to do that. She's always the one that doesn't, it's not like in her realm of thinking. She's 9, she just turned 9. So it was just like, I looked at that and I'm like, whoa, like, that moment, that means a lot, seeing that, because she's not that type of kid to be like, hey, we need to pray about this. She wasn't that. And then something happened yesterday that was really nothing short of a miracle. She was so sick. Like, I was sure it was the flu. Her teacher right now is out with the flu, and so aren't a few students in her class. I was positive it was the flu. Like, it was absolutely it. And the enemy doesn't want me to tell you guys for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not anybody special. God is amazing. This is all Jesus. I literally just, like, felt led to do it. And I don't know. I'm so unsure of everything. And it happened. It worked out. So it was a miracle, guys. And I felt attacked to not share it. So here it is. I love you guys so much. And yeah, I hope you're blessed by that. For those of you that need to hear that need to, to step out and in the authority we've been given. Is that brave? Sorry, like, I am up for correction if I'm being too much. Because I think that there is too much. There is too much. You know what I'm saying? But everything in the will of God. And the will of God is for people to see his son and believe. Okay. Love you guys.